Hi, everybody. So today we did some work with color and mixing paint, opaque paint, and we also made some images using this circle or dot, if you would like to say that. And for your homework, I wanted to give you a demo on what kinds of things I'd love you to do with these things that we made today. So I'm going to take my camera and focus it down on my table and walk you through this next part of our class assignment that I hope you can get a chance to do during the week. All right, so I made three of my own little pieces here. They'll look familiar to you, right? Um, Bubble wrap, of course, rim of a bottle top, and a pencil, back of a pencil. So we have three sizes of dots: small, medium, and large. And now I'm going to ask you to start to compose designs with these. So the thing is that what makes a strong design? What makes a successful design? Success being that you or your viewer likes looking at it. That's successful. And there are ways that we know that we can direct the human eye through a design to keep them continuing to look, to keep them interested, to keep us engaged and enjoying the experience of looking. So how do we do that? Well, there are several ways that we can control the viewer's eyes, and one of those has to do a lot with why I asked you to choose these particular to keep it all about circles, and that is repetition. So repetition is one of the hallmarks of strong design. You will see it in advertising. You will see it in book covers. You will see it in all kinds of things, and you'll see it in paintings and sculpture and all kinds of art. So an artist uses repetition to unify a design. So the repetition, but also variety. So just repetition by itself is kind of boring, right? But repetition with a little variety, now that is exciting. So we also bring our own individuality to all of this stuff, of course. But for today, without going too much more into the ins and outs of composition, as I have always said, I believe in the doing of it, which makes sense to somebody who's trying to learn this. So I'd rather spend more time having you play with this and figure out what seems to be a pleasing thing to you. But I would like to say one thing, and that is that by bringing these different things together, and I'm going to show you what we're about to do in a second, the question of whether or not we want anything else in this design, like another color or a background color or any space between these designs, is a really good question. But before we do that, I'm going to take my pair of scissors and I'm going to cut some shapes out of these things. So what kind of shapes am I going to cut? Let me see. I think what I'm going to do is cut shapes that have straight edges. So rather than going for more curves, we've got a lot of curves going on, and we can do that, but let's just first start by cutting up these designs in some relatively sort of like me, I guess it would be medium-sized rectangles and triangles. And why? I'm really just saying that's a good place to start. Let's see what happens when we cut these designs into, you know, these sort of rectilinear type of shapes. I feel that I want to not use this one right now, and that's fine. You know, let's hold that one for later. And that is certainly part of what you can decide to do too. You can decide to create a design using just two of your pieces of paper by cutting them up, or you could decide to use all three, or you could decide to, you know, use this one and this one next time, or, you know, and that's probably the obvious one because I don't think you would really want to. These colors are so close. This one is more purple. Just FYI, in real life, it's more purple. So to me, it seemed different. But the value, in other words, the grayscale here of the two background colors is very, very close. They're very close in value, relative light to dark. Like if you squint your eyes, there probably would be very little difference. But our orange really shows up quite nicely. Okay, so what are we going to put these on? We're going to take a sheet of paper. And this is what I'm going to ask you to do. And that is to make yourself a rectangle within this. So like a 5x7, I think I was saying that we're going to make a bunch of 5x7 designs. So I'm just gonna kind of draw a rectangle on here to give me my borders. All right. And within this rectangle, now certainly I think we're going to have to cut these down. I cut these quite large. That's okay. But as you see, when I make this rectangle, we can decide to use the background color, this white, as a relief for the eye. Otherwise, we may sort of possibly make it busy, you know, busier than we might want to. But here's what I want you to do. I would like you to play with this rectangle, and without gluing anything down, I want you to play with possibilities in the shapes here. And then take a picture when you think you're complete. All right. Take a photograph so that you can reuse these shapes over and over again, and you can be playful. All right, so I'm just trying to see what might be interesting here. I am trying to use my borders. What happens when I do this? I leave these sort of really skinny edges here, and they're triangle or they're rectilinear. So it repeats the rectilinear shapes of these two pieces of design that I've got here, which is interesting. And that's what we're going for. What seems interesting to you? So you've kind of set up the parameters that you're pretty, you know, you've set parameters that will make the odds of making a pretty interesting design already by using this theme of the circle, right? And you're also using similar colors. So actually in this case, you know, I did what all of us, you know, several of us did today, which was to, you know, decide on a, you know, two colors that are actually already complements of each other, which was a very nice, happy accident. Makes it a little bit easier going. So by repetition of the same orange here and here, and the same sort of lavender color here and here, I have repetition of that circular form. I also have repetition of the rectilinear shapes that I've been cutting. I have different sizes. So there's, the larger yellow of the larger circle and the smaller circle, and the larger rectilinear shape and the smaller rectilinear shape. So this is your exercise. Play. See if you come up with, because you're not gluing these down, let's see if you can come up with 10 interesting possibilities for your designs. And so let's see, what else could I do here? I could do when I overlap. And I could take some of these little guys that I made from cutting them down and see, maybe that's done. The other possibility is to take a different color background. What if you use black instead of white? And you did the same thing here, where you drew your 5 just by 7 shape in here, and use the black instead of the white. What would happen? What would you get? What do you think? So take a picture. Take a picture of all the kind of possibilities that you might enjoy seeing here. You also don't have to keep going with the same rectilinear shapes. If you say, you know what, I want to see what happens when I make a bunch of circles, maybe do more circles within the circles that we've done. And what is that like when I make a series of circles and maybe curvilinear shapes? What happens when I do that? And let's see. I'm just going to cut a curvilinear shape here. The curvilinear relates to of course, the curving circular shapes that we have. So that is kind of a way to bring it all back. So we're really kind of focusing on one of the several sort of guidelines for making a design that holds together well, that is unified, and that also has interest. What if we do that? There's just a little bit of black showing. Do we need more up here? Maybe we do. So, there is really an unlimited possibility of ideas here for interesting composition, right? It just goes on and on and on. What would that be like? So what we're doing here is we're just playing. We are not gluing anything down. We're just having fun, trying things out. What happens if I just had, let me see, one more thing here. Yeah. Okay, so that's your assignment, everybody, to be playful, to try out lots of different possibilities in the design parameters that you have, and take photographs of 10 possibilities. That's it. All right, have fun, and I will see you next time.